Good morning. Thank you for joining me. Today we are going to create some beautiful cards, simple coloring using some of PinkFresh Studios products. They are glorious and I'm certain that you're going to love them too. So let's show you. I have 3 different cards, one for each table. For those of you who are joining me live, thank you so much. For those of you who are joining me virtually, welcome. So the first card, table 1, will be doing I'm going to call it an elegant slimline. So each one of these cards will be using a coordinating stamp, stencil, and die cut. They all come together. They're gorgeous. The second table, table number 2, is going to do this beautiful purple. It is called Joyful Peonies. Again, it has a stamp, stencil, and coordinating die. This card is going to have a fun little border that we're going to do so that we can show off the beautiful inside, the brushed mirror card. And the table number 3, we're going to do the folk art birds, which I think is glorious. All 3 will use the same coloring technique. This one we're going to use the stencil in a little bit different way. So come on in. Okay, so I'm going to clear these out. We're going to just show you what we're going to use for card number 1. And before I do that, I want to show you a couple different renditions for this card. So even though you have the stamp, the stencil, and the die, you don't always have to use all 3 pieces. So in this one, I didn't stamp at all. So let me see if I can bring this up closer. This is just using the stencil. So how great is that? And you can do that with each of these. Okay? This one, I used just the stencil, but then afterwards, I stamped it in a Delicata Gold cardstock, ink. And let me see if I can kind of rotate. Thank you, Baron. Baron's impressed. Let me see if I can get the camera to maybe pick up on the shimmer. I don't know if it can capture it. But anyways, I did that in lieu of, you could also emboss it. Okay, this one does not have a matching foil plate. Some of these do. Okay, we're not going to do the foil plate today just because not all of them have that coordinating one. So this one has the combination of I started with a stamped image, then I colored it, then I overstamped with the Delicata Gold. So let's see if you can see that. Again, I'm going to kind of rotate that. I don't know, does that pick up in the camera? Little bit. It's just a soft, elegant touch. And then accented it with some of the beautiful PinkFresh crystals. So if I can have someone from table 1 come grab these cards, we're actually going to do this together. Now, I'm hoping that everybody watches from beginning to end, because how do we learn best? Through repetition. Each one of these cards, we're going to use the products in the same manner, and then your card in particular will have something unique about it. So, but the technique will be the same. So, before we get started, I also want to show you some of these beautiful inks that are also from PinkFresh Studios. Now, I know that we all have tons of inks, and every time I see a new ink pad, I kind of go, oh no, there's another one, and I kind of go, I don't, and then I try it, and okay, gotta have those too. So what is unique about these? Well, y'all know I have all the distress inks and all the oxide inks and all the VersaFine and the VersaFine Clair and all the inks. I love them. The archival, they're all different. They are all different. How are these different? These are a dye-based ink, just like the distress inks. You know, Tim's Distress, not the oxides, but the distress. Those are a dye-based ink. These blend magnificently. These come in this ink cube set. They also come in full pad, but I like this because you get an ombre effect. You get 4 values of one color in one kit. I love it. And as you work with them today, I think you're gonna love it too. But you are not limited to their inks. I want to say that. You're not limited to their inks. You can use whatever inks you have. You can use your oxides. You can use whatever you have. I think you'll see today, though, as you experience these blend magnificently. Okay? So to take the decision out of today's class, I'm going to set these aside. Because sometimes we get hung up on making choices, right? Today's class, card 1, will be using these inks. So I'm going to set these aside. That was kind of a teaser, wasn't it? Not quite yet, because I'm going to actually make the card with you. So, in your packet for table 1, you will have a piece of, well, all of this is heavyweight cardstock. It's all 110 or better. So the white is 110 pound Nina Classic Crest Solar White cardstock. I have cut this slimline card larger. I am a big fan of, if I'm going to make a slimline card, I'm going to make it as large as possible while still fitting in a slimline envelope. And you can use the old school tall card envelopes. You can use the number 10 envelopes, or you can make one yourself with some beautiful designer paper. Maybe one that you create with your inks and your stencils. That's just a little hint. For this size in particular, I took an 8.5 by 11 sheet of cardstock and I cut it to be 8 inches wide by 9 inches tall. Now there are lots of measurements. I want to say that again. Lots of measurements that you can use for slimline cards. For example, let's just think of another company. Lanfan uses a standard 7.5 by 8.5, scored in half not 7.5, 7 by 8.5, scored in half at 3.5. So again, today we're going to do 8 by 9, scored in the middle at 8. Now, I hope you're paying attention because, yes, I am going to be asking questions later because there are going to be prizes for whoever has the most answers. And today I realized we need to take care of those of you joining us from afar. So you're part of the opportunity to win something, and what you might win will be one of the cards that I make, and I hope that's a blessing to you. So we're going to start. Yours has already been cut and scored for you. Inside your kit will also be a beautiful piece of Star Dreams in the color Fairway. This is, I think it's 107 pound. That's going to be a layer on the inside of your card, which you don't have to worry about right now. I'm just talking about what's in your packet. Here is another piece of Nina, and this is using the PinkFresh Studios, let me see the technical name, Slim Diagonal Stitched Plaid Die. Fabulous die. It cuts out the size and leaves the design. Yep, so that is going to be on the front. I have pre-stamped this for you so that we can, as we're learning how to use our stencils, this is probably the easiest way, or I'm not going to say easiest way, it is a way, okay? I have also die cut a layer using another piece of Nina and using the coordinating die because I want this to be substantial in appearance. When we glue, eventually I'm going to color this, then I'm going to die cut this out, and then we're going to glue the two pieces together and it's going to go on top. Okay, so are we ready? All right, let's get started. I'm going to set these items aside. Oops. Let's get that all the way. I'm going to start with my stencils. Now, let's talk about the stencils real quick. The stencils all have the word PinkFresh Studio cut in, or would that be the right word, into the lower left corner. Some of them also have notches in the four corners. This one in particular does not. I am going to take the first stencil, and it doesn't matter. You don't have to go in a certain order. How cool is that? For those of you who are rule breakers, this is right up your alley. I don't know. I'm thinking of a few of you. Not gonna name names. Okay, now some people like to tape down their paper and their stencil. And so for you, I'm gonna do just that. I don't always do that, okay? This helps us to not slip, okay? And I'm gonna choose this pink set just because, again, let's remove the choice. And I'm gonna go right in the middle. The three cards that I showed in the beginning, one of them I did the bottom two, the other one I did the top two, and now I'm gonna go right in the middle. That was my decision making. Now, think about this. If you have your array of inks and you know what colors blend beautifully together, and I know many of you do, you could mix your yellow and your orange and your pink together on one flower, and you get this beautiful blended loveliness. Okay, today we're gonna do baseline on all of this because I just want you to try. Now, for those of you who have all the different blending tools, and there are many, I was in denial for a long time. You know that I love Tim Holtz all Tim Holtz. I just love it all. And so at least a year went by before I was willing to try these. And I kept hearing about how glorious they were, and I was like, man, I got enough. They were right. Now, if you're going to use inks and such to blend into your stencils, fabulous. This is a tool that has these microfibers that are gathered closely together, and they get into that stencil wonderfully. And the stencil, because it's a different layer, doesn't chunk away at my tool like some of the foam blending tools do. So there's your why. Y'all know that I'm a why girl. I like to ask questions. Why did you just say that to me? My head just kind of spins. Why did you give me those instructions? So that I understand it, so I file it properly, so that when I need to use that again, I pull it back up and yes! So that's the why. All right, let's get busy. I'm just out of control with my words. Let's get started. So I am going to start, and I'm going to load up my brush. I'm not going to go and expect some ink. I'm going to load up my brush. Now, if you are heavy-handed, and I don't know, maybe I am, you may come over here on either your glass table or on a blank spot of your stencil and just kind of tap off a little. That kind of works the ink into the fibers of your blending tool. And then I'm just going to go to town. Now, can you see how easy it would be? Whoops, let's line this up better. I'm getting out of control. Sorry, girls. And you know what? These stencils are more whimsical, so don't panic if you feel like, wait, this isn't perfect. This is not meant to be perfect. And I promise you it's going to be lovely. Okay, I'm not going to choose all the different colors, and you can see how you could make some of these smaller ones different colors, and the different ones different. I'm not going to do that. I'm just going to do all one color. And look at this. We can also check the box. We're doing some stamp aerobics, girls. We're working our arms. Feel the burn. Here we go. Here we go. Honey, I'm exercising. Robert is our moderator and my favorite. You should say hi to him.
Hi, Robert.
Okay, now because I started off by tapping off that ink, right? I can come back and pick that up. And it doesn't look like I'm putting a lot on there, does it? Now sometimes, well, all the time, it's a little bit like Christmas. What are we going to get? And that anticipation, oh, I love it. I love it. And, you know, it's fun to put a little extra ink at the base of the flower where there will be less light hitting that. But that's not a thing. You don't have to worry about that, okay? That's not a pressure thing. That is just a thought.
Are you actually on the flowers?
I am. I know. You're going to see that when this stencil comes your way. Okay. Think that's good enough? Let me grab my paper towel. You could use a chamois. Paper towels are easy though. I'm just kind of lifting away the excess. Okay.
It's on top of the stencil.
Yes, yes, it's on top. Now let's lift this away and look at this.
Oh.
Quick and easy. And I kind of spent a little more time on that than I even needed to. Or you could be wild and crazy and add some more colors without lifting that up. Okay, now I'm going to put the lid on here because I'm going to be a responsible crafter. Put the lid on there. Let's grab another. So this, again, this is a 3-part stencil. I think I said that. Maybe I did not. All right, I'm going to quickly, look at, I almost just dropped it into place. Drop that into place. Consider adding my hinge. Look, of course I got to make it harder on myself.
You're
Put
going
my-
over the stamped paper, aren't you?
I'm lining this up with a stamped image. Thank you for asking. Yep. So this stencil has openings in it, and those openings are what I'm using to line this up. Okay. Now, because I dedicate my blending tools to a family of color, I'm going to use that same brush. I started with the light, so now I'm going to touch into the darker. Again, I'm going to load that up. It's not going to do anything negative to my blending tool. And I can come over here, tap off that excess, and do a circular motion. I think that that is the nicest. And as you begin playing with these, you will discover what works best for you. I'm feeling the burn. Are you girls feeling the burn with me?
Oh, yeah.
Exercising vicariously
Yes.
through me? You're welcome. I think you're losing some calories. It's glorious. Well, you know, you're going to have to tell me how many you can do. We'll make it a challenge. All right. Quick. Put the lid on so that I don't decorate my hand. Ask me about that. Nah, don't do that. Just imagine why I might say that. Now, we're going to die cut away the excess. So if any of this gets on my white cardstock, it does not matter. It's not going to impact the card in any way. But I am wiping away the excess so that as I pass this on to table number 1, they don't start with a mess. And that would be the responsible thing for me to do. All right, this time I'm going to take the tape off instead of just, and that's the big reveal. Boom, there it is. All right, and finally the 3rd layer. Now I forgot to say, make sure you can read the words PinkFresh Studio, because if I can't, if it's flipped over, well, it's just not going to line up well. And then you might get frustrated. So you start with, can I read the words? It will be in the lower left-hand corner.
That would be me.
But I wasn't naming any names. Okay, so I'm lined up, and I hope you can see it lines up quickly and easily. It should be a stress-free exercise. Even the exercise is stress-free. All right. Now I'm going to move on. God. Opening. All right. I think for table 2, well, I'm going to use these inks. All right. Starting with, now I only have one last stencil for the leaves and the stems. So I'm going to start with my lightest. Load that up, go over the whole open area of those leaves and stems. I am a person who loves color, so I was just thinking about, am I heavy-handed? I don't know, maybe I am.
You just love color.
But I love color. And I often get the question, well, what's your favorite color? And I say color. I love it all. I think I'm a jewel tones. I love vibrant, which is kind of weird because I really am an introvert. I used to think I was an extrovert until I met my husband. Oh, please. Please.
He's very shy.
He is very shy, isn't he? I say that, though, the reason why my brain just pinged there is you would think that as an introvert I'd be more drawn to pastels. I really am not. I don't want the whole world to notice me by any those of you who know me know that I just don't love the camera. It makes me nervous.
But it loves you.
But I love to teach you, and thank you. Thank you. I love to teach. This is my favorite thing in the whole world. And if I can share my passion with anybody to show you that you can do this too, I'm there. So, okay, we've got our first layer. It's the lightest one. That happened to be Fresh Pear. Forgive me, I haven't told you the name of these inks. They are all beautiful. You can't choose poorly. All right, now I'm going to load up with the next darkest color, which in this case is Key Lime. And this time I'm just going to go more like the base, so that there's a transition from dark to light, leaving the tips of the leaves lighter than the base. Now, you can choose to not do that at all. You could just say, Cindy, I think I just want to pick my favorite color and go. And you know what? That would be perfect for you. So you do that. And nobody is going to grade you on this. And anybody you give this card to will be blessed. And if they're not, make a little note of that. Move on to your other friends. These are water-based inks. But different than the distress inks, they don't react like distress inks. Tim's chemists created distress inks to really bloom and move with water. These would move with water, but they're not going to bloom like his do. They just react different, and you're going to see they blend beautifully.
Cindy, is this just one stencil?
One stencil. I didn't change it.
Okay.
Yeah, but it's an opportunity to show you that you can do this with all of them. You can add multiple colors, and really that's my favorite. But today, since we're introducing these to you, I didn't want to go there. All right, are we ready? Wait, nope. Almost failed y'all. I'm going to go ahead and take my paper towel and pick up that excess ink so that the next person...
So it's okay to pick it up on a dry towel?
Dry, yep.
No.
Yeah, you
You're
don't
not gonna
you don't
mess
really
it
you
up
don't need
after
to.
you wipe it off. You're not going to blend things or anything. It's not going to come up.
Well, it's the colors that we used, and so good
But
question.
It won't take it off from what we colored.
No, good question. No, it will not lift it off the paper. Okay, so now I'm taking this off. Are we ready? Let's see how I did. What do you think?
Gorgeous. Just gorgeous.
So, quick and easy. And now let's show you what I was talking about. I can now take the Misty that I had originally stamped this in. I didn't move it at all. Oops, that magnet. So strong. Okay, I can now put my cardstock back in the Misty. This is a clear stamp, so I'm going to leave the cushion in. Good grief, I need to get some tape on this so I can handle this better. Now let me verify that I put this in correctly. No, upside down would cause issues. Let's go this way. I think I was saying this to you before I started, so for each of the tables I have pre-stamped, left the stamp in the Misty. I used the PinkFresh Studios black ink. And now I'm going to use Delicata Golden Glitz. If you have not used this ink, you need to use this ink. It is glorious. For all of you who love sparkle and shimmer, I don't know, maybe some of us like it more than others. I am just gonna I'm just adding ink to this image, and because I haven't moved my stamp and I'm lining the cardstock back up just like I did in the beginning, I can overstamp this in a metallic. This stamp, die set, and stencil does not have a gold glimmer foil plate, so we're going to do this in its absence. The other two cards do.
Can you use any black ink, or do you need to use this?
You could, since as long as it's good and dry, you'll be fine. I always like to use a ink that won't have the tendency to reactivate.
Oh, I have that Lawn Font black.
That'd be perfect.
Okay.
Yep, that's perfect. So again, I'm gonna see if I can show the camera. I don't know if that shows very well. Does it show the shimmer?
Rotate.
Yeah.
Keep rotating.
For those of you who will see
Yeah.
this in person, it's just so lovely. Now, and again, it's whimsical, so do not try to make this perfect. It's not going to be perfect, but nothing that we do in the handmade world will be perfect. That's not its intent. Okay, now let's die cut this out. I want you to see the other glorious thing about PinkFresh Studio products is they have thought about all the things that they are hearing. Their dies, I think they are all cut apart for you. There are no shards to cut away. You don't have to separate those, so that's a big win. The other thing is so many of them are a single stamp with multiple pieces with a single die. And that will become evident here. I don't know about today, but all right, now I'm going to line this up. Do I need to bring my die cut machine over? Let's see. If you feel more comfortable putting some washi tape on to hold your die in place, I will leave some on the die cutting machine. Most of the time I don't even use it. All right, I'm going to line that up. More exercising. No, not at all. And anytime you have, I do have the extension plate, platform and plates in, just because for class, I do multiples at a time. If you do not have an extended plate and it doesn't fit, and I honestly think it does fit, but let's say you have a die cut machine that has a shorter strip, so to speak, shorter plate, you can always roll it through, turn it around, and finish die cutting. So don't let that be a thing that causes you to not consider this. And so now we have the die cut piece. Okay? Good grief. How many things can I have? All right. So let me have you come grab this, Vicki. Have you grab. Okay, and I think, there you go. And this die. I'll have you clean that tape off and I'll throw this away. Okay, now let's assemble this. All right, so I'll get my packet back out just like you have. Okay, I like to assemble my cards in the flat position. I think it's easier, but if it's not easier for you, then fold it first, so you know what is best for you. Where I've made the score line, it made an indentation, and I always like to make certain that we hide the bump. That goes better for you. When you go to fold it, you'll have less cracking when you do that. So I'm going to start by putting my inside layer in. I always like the inside of my card to be as pretty or have some element of the front of the card on the inside. Looks like I cut my inside layer off, but that is fine. There we go. I'm going to flip this over. Now we're going to focus on the front. Now, since this is got a little bit of texture, I'm going to use my tape runner, but I'm going to add liquid glue because my experience has shown that the liquid glue is going to keep it in place. Your tape runner, not so much. Your tape runner, your ATG gun, those are glorious for layering your photos, layering your different layers. But when it has some sort of resistance, like a texture, nah. Use some liquid glue. Liquid glue is going to be permanent, especially in your corners. This is not going to come up.
Lisa Carney has a question for you.
Yes, Lisa. What can I answer? Thank you.
She asked, what stencil is the slim one?
Oh, thank
What
you.
is that card for?
Thank you. I failed to tell you. This is You Are My Favorite. So it's You Are My Favorite stamp. It is You Are My Favorite die, which is that is a bundle. And then the stencil is also You Are My Favorite. Okay, and those are available both in store and online. Okay, now we have this one. And I want this one to get glued to this one so that when we attach it, it naturally creates a little bit of a shadow. It creates a little bit of depth. And it also makes this card feel more substantial. So that's my why. Okay, so again, I'm going to use some liquid glue. Oops, I could use my tape runner, but nah, this is easier and more permanent.
Could you use foam glue?
I'm going to do that on the back side. So good question. Sandy asked, could I use foam tape? I don't want to put foam tape between the two layers, but I do want to put foam tape behind. Okay? So, and this is, again, this is a personal decision. You add, why do I do this? Do you girls do this to yourself? It's always wiser to pull the sheath off the scissor so that, oops, so that when you want to use them, you're not wrestling it. Okay. Love Tim's titanium blade so that my tape does not stick. And this scissor cuts anything. Ask me how I know that too. All right, maybe I'll put a little bit here because you don't want wimpy areas. All right, let's call that good. No. Let's do a couple more little pieces. One more, and then we'll stick her down. Okay. Now, so we've got the inside done. We're going to go ahead and fold that over. Use my beautiful bone folder. Love, love, love the synthetic bone folder. All right. I'm going to remove the protective liner of this tape. I will not be throwing it on the floor, as I know none of you will do that either. I'll put it in the trash can. All right. And I'm going to try to center this top to bottom. Look at how fun that is. Now you could put a sentiment, you could stamp something on some vellum, you could die cut out one of their beautiful words, or you can just accent it with some of their beautiful jewels. So this is where I'm going to get out pink or green, girls?
Green.
Green? Green. All right, you choose.
Cindy?
Yes.
I have a question.
Yeah.
I thought you were using somehow the same stencil. There's 3 here. So really, we have 3 that come in the package
Yes,
with it.
and you will use all 3, just one at a time. And it truly does not matter which one you start with. Just pick one, line it up on your stamped image so that you can see the details of the stamp. And then you're just going to color over the top. Right, I'm going to use my PinkFresh Studio embellishment wand. I am going to decide, okay, let's see. We're going to put one here. I'm going to put the largest one at the bottom. Let's come over here maybe. These crystals have a flat bottom and then a pointy top. That's how you know. Well, you'll be able to glue it. It won't glue very well the other way, but that is what these feel like and look like. I'm going to use my embellishment wand to pick up that crystal. Put a little bit of art glitter glue to hold it in place. Come over here, repeat that. Whoops. And I was hoping I found a littler one, but I did not. So too bad. This is the perfect jewel. All right. Card number 1 is done and ready for when I might need that last minute card. And when I'm ready for that, I will simply stamp my message, at that time. All right. So let's move on to card number 2.
Should we be working on this while we're listening?
Sure. Sure. All right, moving this aside. Card number 2 is going to be Joyful Peony. I'll say that now so that I don't leave you out. This is going to be using the purple Star Dreams called Violet. And let's get my brush. Okay. Okay, so again, I started with putting the stamp in my MISTI, lining up the stamp onto the place where I want it. I'm going to flip this over. Let's get this done. So I die cut out using let me show you, the diagonal stitch rectangle set. This is 4 dies, super pretty. I die cut that out using the gold brushed mirror card, and that is going to be on the inside of this card. So we'll get the inside done. Yours is already done for you. This is one of my favorite die sets from PinkFresh Studio. It's just beautiful. And I seem to use it over and over without even realizing it. Okay. Did I? Yes. So again, that's the diagonal stitch rectangle 4-piece die set. Okay? I'm going to flip this over and set this aside for a minute. We'll get out the stencil. This stencil set, this one has 5 stencil pieces to it. Okay? So this one has more, but as you saw, this is not difficult. All right, and I can start with any. So what am I going to do? The first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to make sure that I can read the word PinkFresh Studio in the lower left. In this set, there's stencil number 1 in the upper left corner. Now, they've also made these little hash marks in the 4 corners, but because I stamped this in my MISTI and I didn't care about the hashtags, it's not going to necessarily line up the way I want it to if I were focusing on those. Is that what I would call those? Guide. We're just going to call it guides. Thank you, honey. All right. Now, instead, I'm going to use the stamped image to line that up. See how I'm able to do that? Okay. This time, maybe we will put my washi on the back of my card. Okay, so now the stencil is in place. Now I'm going to use the, I don't remember what this is called. What is the purple set called?
Pretty purple.
I like that. It should be called Pretty Purple. Let's use the middle two again.
Let you go.
I'm going to use my purple brush. I don't know. Let's do that.
Washi tape, here's some purple. I'm looking hard, I can't find it either.
This is how I wash them. Good question. So after I'm done with my stencils, I just wipe off the excess ink before I put it in my Studio Katia carousel. Now it stains it, which is glorious, because that way I know, oh yeah, that's my pink or that's my purple, right?
I used it.
Some of us have issues when our stuff is stained.
Rachel.
So Picket Fence Studio made it look like they're already used, which takes that ink off of us. And so when you're going to use it, you start by checking your paper towel. See, it's colorless. I use it all the time, but because I practice my being a responsible crafter and I get rid of the excess before I put it away, we're good to go. Okay, so thank you for that question. That was excellent. Okay, so getting back to what I was doing, I am going to again start with the lighter of the two colors. I'm gonna load up my brush. I'm gonna tap off the excess just in case. See, that shows me. And I am going to, now you don't have to have pressure on this. I should have said that earlier. I'm just using a circular motion. You could put your index finger over the head of the brush. It depends on, do you like more pastel or do you like more vibrant? Okay, and I could be done there if I wanted. I could also go back, pick up this ink. See how much there is there? Go back and add a little bit more of that color just to add some depth nearest the greenery or nearest the base of that flower. Or just move on. I mean, don't worry about it. See what you get and be very lighthearted about it.
Cindy,
Mm-hmm.
can you use these inks with, say, your, the oxides?
Absolutely.
They blend together?
Oh, yes.
Great.
The oxides are glorious for blending. The finish will look different. The oxides give you that beautiful velvety or chalky finish. So your flowers won't be as vibrant. But try it and see what you think, because the oxides are gorgeous.
But they
Gorgeous.
do blend with the PinkFresh.
Absolutely. Well, let me clarify. You would not want to mix.
That's what I was asking.
You could use PinkFresh Studio inks as long as your blending tool is separate from your oxides.
Okay.
The chemical makeup of your oxides would forever change your PinkFresh Studio inks, and then you would be sad.
Oh,
Okay? And vice versa.
okay.
You would change the makeup of that
Okay.
pad. So they're different. You could use it on the same project. In every project, you can mix those inks. You just don't want to have the same blending tool.
Okay.
Okay? Thank you for that question. That was excellent. Okay. Again, I'm going to wipe up the excess. When you are cleaning the excess ink off your stencil, you do want to be mindful that these little cutaway areas have edges. So be careful that you don't lift some of that and actually reshape your stencil. Did I make sense? Did that make sense? So don't really, don't scrub. Another little tip on that, if when you're all done, you could take these to the sink, or you could mist it with your misting bottle, which I ask everybody to bring. So when you're all done, before you hand it to the next person, you might just mist the stencil and then put it on your paper towel. This is what I do. And then just begin blotting that ink up. If your ink stains your stencil, and sometimes it does, just shake that off. You can use, I have another water bottle that has an A. because I will either have rubbing alcohol or isopropyl alcohol. And you could do that, you could mist your stencil after you've cleaned it with the water, and it will take even more ink off. It's amazing. Okay? So that is with rubbing alcohol or isopropyl alcohol. For those nurses who I'm surrounded by, what's the difference between isopropyl alcohol and rubbing alcohol? Same? Okay, I thought so. Thank you. See, we're all wiser now. All right. So that was stencil number 1. I'm going to flip that over. We're going to move on. The next one, it doesn't matter. You can do this in any order. So again, I'm going to read PinkFresh Studio in the lower left corner. I'm going to lift up my paper because I do have tape on my paper facing up. I'm going to line up my stencil. And I'm not going to sweat about this. It's just going to be perfect. Okay. Press my tape into place. Now I'm going to move on to a green. Okay, and I'm going to change brushes. You do not want to put green. You don't want to use the purple brush for your green ink. That will also make you crabby. Who can tell me what green and purple make?
A glorious color.
Of brown. Brown, which is a great color unless you are working on your flowers. Because that implies we did not care for our flowers in the way that we might have wanted to.
I actually have irises that have brown in them.
And dahlias. I know that there are some there, but you know, when we're coloring,
Yeah,
we may, I don't know, maybe that's not even well said. Some of us may prefer brown. If it starts out that way, we can't really feel. All right. So I'm kind of using that excess ink. I'm moving it to the opening of that stencil. And now I can't help it. I'm going to go back in and add a little bit more, again, at the base of that leaf. It's amazing when you are doing this. It feels like, oh man, that's a lot. But then you lift it up and it's just, it's lovely. Now, for those of you who may not find that coloring is glorious for you, this might help because this is quick and easy, and this actually affords you the opportunity to begin practicing. Where does it look nice to have that extra bit of color added? Where, and when you use PinkFresh Studio inks, you know, they put them together so that you already know that they'll work well together. So this is a great way to begin your coloring venture. Okay, so let me lift the excess ink off with my paper towel. Is anybody coming up with a question as I'm doing this? So I'm working on my arms, that is an excellent question. I don't know. I think there are. Ooh, who can tell me? That's a question. Is Leslie online? Leslie, how many are there? Is there 48 colors? I think they're like 11 or 12 sets.
Yeah, 12 sets I thought.
Oh, Isla said 12. That might be absolutely correct. We have them. I just haven't memorized how many there are. Okay, that's set stencil number 2. All right, I'm now going to go for stencil number 3. As I'm showing you, what are you thinking? Do you think that this would be something that you would enjoy coloring?
Oh, they're fun.
Aren't they fun?
Yeah.
Use the man on the bottom corner.
Yep, make sure you can read the word PinkFresh Studios in the lower left-hand corner. Okay, now we're back to the flower. Oops, oh my gosh, nobody saw that, right? Let's flip my ink pad. Okay, I'm all lined up, and I'm going to just quickly Thank you. This color is lavender. The first color was candy violet.
It's not supposed to be whimsical.
Rachel, you came to mind. I was thinking, this is it's whimsical and lovely, and don't stress about it. It's really gonna be lovely. Okay, we're gonna call that good. Pick up the excess. I love how easy these are to work with. Okay.
Could you choose the color?
Absolutely. You could use 3. You know, whatever colors you know will blend and play nice together. It's glorious. So here we are, stencil number 3 done. Stencil number 4, I can read the word PinkFresh Studio. Again, I'm going to lift this up because of that tape. Okay, I'm going to line this up. Whoops, that's not lined up. It's stuck to the tape already. Okay.
No, it's all right. I kind of like it more than white.
Gonna now stick the tape to the paper. Go back to my green, and this time I'm gonna use olive. Oh, good grief. Out of control. Guess that workout is paying off. Finding the strength. Okay, I'm gonna hold this down. Lift up some of that. Again, I'm just doing circular motion, and because of how this blending brush sinks right down into that stencil, the opening of that stencil, it's transferring the color beautifully. You'll notice, has anybody seen any of this stencil connecting to my blending tool and moving? Do you know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So you may have blending tools that you will find are not glorious to work with a stencil. Okay, I hope I'm saying that well. Okay, put the lid back on so that I don't decorate my hand or any other thing. Pick up the excess ink with my paper towel, my dry paper towel. Now, I wouldn't want to use, well, I'm going to say this differently. I haven't used a baby wipe while on the card to pick up the excess because I wouldn't want to accidentally get some of that moisture into the openings of the stencil and then change the look of the card. Am I saying that well? Okay, stencil number 4, done. And look at, now we're down to the last one. I can read the word PinkFresh Studio in the lower left-hand corner. This one, it's just the center of each flower, it's the stamen. So I'm going to line that up. Whoops. The tape that's on the back of this card is trying to grab prematurely. Okay, am I there? So close. Okay, we're going to call it good. Okay, and now I'm going to go back to that same purple. I could move on to a darker one, but just so that everybody is using 2 colors, I'm just going to go in. I didn't tap off the excess, so it's automatically darker. Again, using that circular motion. Done. And when you're doing this, you're probably going to actually do it quicker because you're not explaining it to anybody and you're just doing. You're doing what feels natural. I'm going to take this away, and we're done. And this is the simplest rendition that you can do. You could certainly make this more glorious. Okay, and now I'm going to do what I did with the first card. I'm going to get the, oh, you know what? May I have, Sandy, can you hand me the stamp platform with the stamp in it so that I can show you? And in the same motion, I will hand you I'll trade you, thank you. I'll hand you these inks and brushes. And when you're done, here is the stencils. Okay, so I haven't changed. I'll put, there you go. Okay, I'm gonna make sure I've put my paper in the correct direction. Okay, I'm gonna ink up my stamp with the Golden Glitz Delicata. You could use a clear pigment ink and brush on Perfect Pearls or Pearl-X to add a little bit of shimmer. You could also do a pigment ink and an embossing powder.
Sorry.
When you were all finished. But this is quick and easy and beautiful. It doesn't change the ink that you've just laid down. And again, I hope you can see the shimmer that leaves just instantaneously. Does that show? So pretty, so pretty. I'm gonna leave that. Now I'm gonna die cut this out. Oh yeah, the die, shoot, the die and the card again. I'm so sorry.
The card.
Okay, what we did differently, thank you. Now we're gonna die cut this out so that we have our image. Let's see, let's see here. Do we ever have enough room in our craft space? I don't really think we do, but let me move my die cut machine so that you can see what I'm doing. I'm gonna lay this. Anytime we can fit our item in at an angle, that helps us to not hear the dreaded crackling and cracking that sounds like something serious is happening, because the machine works easier. And see, this time I'm not even gonna use purple tape because that's my normal. I'm gonna run that through. And then the other thing that I did different on this card is I just made a fun edge on the card so that you can have a little tease at what's on the inside of this card. So what I did is I did some partial die cutting. The other thing you can do, and here I'll show you that, the other thing you can do is you can flip it over to the front where the scored line has left the indentation. You can, let me pop this out, you can line this card up so that the die is on the edge. And do a pencil line, just trace that outer edge. So let's do that. That way you're not doing anything funky. Your edge is exactly where you want it. This is just a quick, easy, do something different. So I don't know if you can see that line very easily. I can see it, and when you're doing this, you'll be able to see it too. And now I'm just...
Cindy, you just get that die just so it hits the edge there, and that way you know you can draw around it.
Yeah, and you know what? This is also not a stressful thing. I'm just trying to do something other than have a straight border. I'm just trying to give you a something else.
A little something, something.
Little something, something, yes. So I'm cutting away that pencil line. So throw away that scrap. And now, if any of that bent, like I see I got excited there, I'm going to use the flat end of my bone folder to flatten that back down. Oops. And now I'm going to fold my card in half, burnish that edge, grab my pre-die cut naked paper, glue it to the die cut piece, okay, just like we did in the first card. We're just making this more substantial. Doesn't have to be perfect. We're just bringing the two pieces together so that we cast a slight shadow. I know that you have each received, or going back to the beginning when you first started doing this, of a card that just didn't feel like it was made well. You know, it wasn't using quality product, you know, all the things. And when your goal is to be a blessing to somebody else, you just want to make this to the best of your ability, right? So doing little things like this, starting with quality paper. This one I'm gonna glue flat, not with mounting tape. To finish what I was gonna say, you know, you can just feel the difference. So I hope that you will try fun little things like this. Okay. Now I'm going to take this and sort of inset it. Hope I'm showing this well. Inset it into just to the left of that cutaway border. So now what you're doing is you're creating that peekaboo for the really pretty brushed gold mirror card on the inside that has that lovely stitched diagonal frame. There's something more to see aside from the flower. And then add some jewels. So who wants to tell me, whoops, throwing my stuff around. Who wants to tell me what jewels to use? What color?
Clear.
Clear? Clear? Yeah, let's do it. All right. I'm just going to take a, few jewels, put it in the lid. That just kind of helps me contain them. How many jewels do we want? However many you want. You know, our eye naturally appreciates odd numbers, but that it's not a rule by any stretch. So, I don't know. Let's see. No. So play with that for a minute. Your eye will tell you, ooh, yeah, I like that. Or, keep going, sister. That's not working. What do you think? I think we need a couple more. Is that unanimous?
Yes.
Yes. You're my kind of people. All right.
Yeah.
Is that good? All right. Let me help myself. Let's use these scissors to hold my card flat and use my embellishment wand. For those of you who have the embellishment wand, is that just like a game changer?
Yes.
Oh my
My
gosh.
little brother and sister are having so much fun with it when we made Grandma's cards.
Ah, excellent. I love it. Isla's training up the next generation. Love it.
My little sister put about 12 gems on Grandma's card.
Awesome. And Grandma, for those of you who have not met her, is 99 years old. She will be 100 on Halloween. She is sharp as a tack. So you got to be on your best behavior around her. All right, so put a dot of glue on your card. Pick up your jewel with your embellishment wand and bring it to the dot of glue. It is instant. All right, what do you think? That is card number 2. Whoops. Put my lid back on my jewels so that I don't decorate the entire place and lose jewels. All right. So we can now give you the card back and the die back. Do I have the stamp and the ink pad and the stamp platform? All the things so that you can finish your card. All right, how are we doing for questions? Is everybody good? Am I making sense? Really, the product is just speaking for itself. Okay. Card number 2. Are we ready for card number 3? There should be a gold on your table. Unless, oops, lie. Let me give it to you. Thank you, Rachel. It is here. All right. Card number 3 is folk art. So pretty. So here is folk art. This has the glimmer foil plate as an option to add. Get these out of the way. This time we are going to use this blue set that includes Stargazer, Sapphire, Blue Jay, and Slumber. And then I thought we would add the green set that has Evergreen, Emerald City, Meadow, and Mint. So in your packet, you should have this glorious lapis lazuli Star Dreams papers. So beautiful. That's how you're going to start. It has a layer using the diagonal stitched rectangle. And I deliberately left this little frame in your packet because check it out. If you just cut your 8.5 by 11 sheet of paper into quarters and you center that die, then you also get this frame that you could use, on another card. Or you could throw it away. But I gotta use all the things. So I'm gonna go ahead. What are we gonna do? We're gonna keep the indented score line on the front. So I'm gonna flip this over. I'm going to start by adding my inside layer. That way I don't forget that part. This doesn't have texture or resistance, so my tape gun would be sufficient for this. Okay, I'm going to center this. Burnish that. Set this aside for a minute. Your packet also has the die cut elements. And so check this out. I'm going to turn this over. I don't have all of it popped out, but I am going to take my liquid glue. This is important. Liquid glue and just a couple dots on the inside of these pieces, making sure that I don't go near the edge while it's still inside the die, so that I can turn this over and pop this out onto the card exactly where I want it. Dot, dot, dot. I have to be careful to not get glue in the wrong spot because I want to peel away the negative. Oh, like that. Darn it. That's the tricky part. So line this up on the very front of the card and stick down. I have to be careful of this one because it has glue on it. Uh-oh.
When she gave this to us?
If any of you are having trouble, we can address that when I'm done. Good heavens. Make sure it's lined up in the right direction, because I promise you it does. Good grief. Okay, doing it so close, so close. Yes, I'm missing some, but I'm going to I'm going to rejoice. I'm going to put a dot here. Okay. Stick that down. Let me pull this back so that I can get my last piece lined up. Art glitter glue dries way too quickly for this to, for me to believe that that was still sticky. Okay, let's do that again. I'll do the same with the birds. See, table 3, do you feel like the advanced table yet?
I'm sure.
Okay, now I got to get my birds, but I'm just making sure that I have all the pieces tacked. I don't want to get glue on this glorious paper. I'm almost there. Let's line this back up. This time I'm going to put the glue on the cardstock, bring my pieces to the opening. My producer is getting crabby with me. Okay, a little bit more here. Sorry, I'm trying to make sure I keep my head out of the way. Thank you. I just love you, Sarah. All right. All right. So now we have our base. Let's get back to what you are going to learn. Put my needle back in my glue so that it will work again when I need it to. Okay. Get my stencils out. Again, this is Folk Art Birds. This set is 4 stencils. So your effort's going to be all in the layering on the die cuts. Okay, again, I want to be able to read the words PinkFresh Studio in the lower left corner. It doesn't matter which one you start with. They are numbered 1 through 4, but it doesn't matter. Okay, and let's go with, again, let's make a decision. Let's just do the 2 middle ones for both the blue and the green. But if you want to change that up, you can do that. We'll line this up nicely. And I'm going to put tape. This time I'm showing you different options each time, just in case one works better for you. They all work. So now I've got my stencil lined up to my stamped image. What am I going to do? I'm going to load up my brush with my lighter of the 2 colors, or the 4 colors, or however many colors you want to do. And I am going to simply do one color over all of the openings of this stencil. How are we doing? You thinking of questions? Did you hear that, girls? Somebody is asking if they could be excused. Wow. That's funny. Blasphemy. I love it. I love crafters.
If you don't stay, you're not getting a chance at the prize.
Right? That means more opportunity for those who stick with me. All right, and like I've done before, I'm going to just put a little bit darker. Same color, but just add a little bit more color to the base of that opening. You're right. Someone say that again. It goes really fast, doesn't it? It's amazing. So when you're like, ooh, how did I forget that birthday? For those of you who know me, yes, this is for me.
We were wondering if there's a Christmas option.
You know what? PinkFresh Studios has been given that strong suggestion, and I suspect we will see that.
Oh, nice.
Imagine this card set as 2 turtle doves in Christmas tones, which
Yes.
you're doing right now.
Then there's Robert.
Shut the front door.
Shut the front door. I love that.
Since they're gonna have Christmas bazaars this year.
Right? Yes, for all of you who create to put in the fairs, be thinking that way. Whoops, now I forgot to take the excess ink off. So what am I going to do? I'm going to do that in a minute. Okay? I'm going to line up the next stencil. Because remember, this has got 4 pieces. I'm hoping that you can see it lines up nicely. And this is not about perfection. Because seriously, do any of our cards, are they perfect? No. Of course they are, yes. Okay, now I'm going to go to the darker color, and I should have said, the first color was Blue Jay, the second color is Sapphire, or whatever color you choose. Let's see. You know what? Sorry, I almost failed y'all. But thankfully, I have table 3 going, no. I would have got it, as you saw. All right. Whew. I'm starting to overheat.
Like a china plate with 4 shades of blue.
Right? Yes. I like that. Okay, so really, that was a trick question. We're really going to use meadow. So for those of you who stopped breathing, please forgive me. Okay. I'm going in. Return to your normal breathing. Look how pretty. Girls, you really can't make a bad decision.
Well, you know,
My breakfast till is hard.
Oh. Well, food, I don't know. I think we're all able to say we have made poor decisions. Right? I'm just going to say it. You know, after this, we can have pie. Right? 'Cause and we really can, because guess what? Chris brought pie. Yes, she brought pie for all of us because she loves us. I think really she's doing that to protect herself.
Our favorite pie lady.
Right, from our favorite new pie lady that just opened.
That's awesome.
So when you come visit us, be sure to stop in Long Beach. And consider getting some pies. They make sweet little individual pies that you should really cut into 4s probably, but some of us think that it's individual pies.
She also makes sugar-free ones.
Oh, so she makes gluten-free and sugar-free.
And her cinnamon rolls.
You're welcome, Marcy. I am doing an infomercial just for you. I think they just did the ribbon cutting last week. Is that correct, Chris? And what is the proper name of the business? Is it the Pie Lady?
Long Beach Pie Lady.
Long Beach Pie Lady.
That's awesome.
Town Mall.
Yep. And for those of you who are already helping to share this video and like if you do like, dislike if you don't like it, that's okay too. Helps me learn. Please do the same for other fellow small businesses, because that's how we're going to be able to keep staying in business. Without you, we won't be here. So, thank you. All right, what do you think? Is that going to be good? Let's call it good. Put the lid on, Cindy. All right, and I'm going to be responsible. I'm going to use my dry paper towel to lift off the excess. It just makes it so much easier if you do this now. Okay, take this away. We're on to stencil number 3. Excuse me. All right. Line that up. See how that just comes right into alignment? Oops. Okay, that's in place. So I'm going to wrap that tape. So which application of masking tape do you think will work best for you? Right, I'm looking at my stencil. Do you like putting the masking tape on the back of the paper and having the sticky up? Connecting the stencil? Do you like just putting it on top and sticking it down, face down? Or do you like wrapping it like I've just done? I'm just trying to think of all the different ways. Because we all learn differently, we all hear differently, we all use our products differently. I'm trying to think of all the ways that I can share this with you.
Wow. Very pretty, Cindy.
Thank you, Vicki.
Yeah, this is my cup of tea.
I knew it would be.
Yeah, I think there's hope here.
Frida, what are you thinking? The verdict is not in yet. But you know what? We're all praying you forward. Let me just tell you.
I enjoyed it. The other day in the shop, these ladies came in, and I came in, and she says, we're gonna do these cards for coloring, because some people, like me, don't like the color.
What?
We have to do this, It's like, okay, those rules.
Nobody knows this about Frida. Not even now.
Knows what?
She doesn't like that color.
I said, she knows what?
Oh, I love the color.
Okay, so we're wiping off the excess ink. Okay, we're going to reveal our third stencil. There we are. And now we're going into our fourth. Oops. I almost failed. No, that was right. I can read the word PinkFresh Studio in the lower left. I'm going to line this up. Wrap my tape. Okay. And we're going to do, now we're going to do the sapphire. Look at quick and easy. Okay, now again, you could do so much more, guys, but this is just, you want to do a card quick and easy. You want the results to be lovely.
We have a question for you.
Please ask.
If you have a lot of cheap paper, you can use the cheap paper for the base. I mean cheap, but you could get, that's a good paper to use this on, the topper.
Did everybody hear that question? She said, if you have a whole bunch of cheap paper laying around, you could always use the cheap paper for the base. I'm going to cost...
Well, I don't mean the base, I mean for, well, I guess I do, for this stuff, but maybe it wouldn't be heavy enough.
Thank you. You answered your own question. So I'm going to say, try that and see what you think, because I'm going to immediately reject that as truth and say, friend, you don't ever want to start with poor quality paper. That is where you start. And so as you spend all of your time making this card beautiful, and then you pick it up and you've got this wimpy card that won't even stand on its own, you're going to be sad. So my suggestion would be like Sarah's, and it would be take that poor quality paper and donate it. Donate it. Because why do you want that? And I hope that that's coming across well. Paper.
I use it for, frankly, I use it for like when I'm playing with the stamps.
Yeah, when you're doing prototypes
Or when I'm just kind of trying to blend colors together to see if they work.
Sure. Sure. But I'm not saying to get, I shouldn't have said that. But I don't want you using all of your precious time, because what is our most precious time? Our most precious asset is our time. And so you don't want to be doing all that with poor quality paper with the attempt to make something beautiful, but your first decision was something less than. Okay? Good question. And tell me in the comments below if you disagree. Okay. I'm staring at my die. Thank you. No, I don't. But what I do want to do is figure out what I did with the die. You know what? Yeah, we could do the silver delicata, couldn't we?
It's right there.
We could change it up. All right.
It's right there. It's right there.
Miss Chris, may I please have the delicata silver and the misty before we do this part? See, what would I do without you girls?
I have the delicata
Thank you.
gold.
We're going to change it up. We're going to show the silver. Okay. I'm going to take this one out. This is how we started. Me stamping all of your goodness so that you didn't have to take the time to do that. I'm going to verify. Yep. Put my magnet in place. Somebody help me. Help me get my tape on my magnet so I can lift it up easier. Oh.
I think this is the top, isn't it?
I love it. Okay, I'm trying to clear a spot. Okay, now I'm going to put my magnet in place. I'm going to ink up my stamp with silvery shimmer delicata. Let's be correct, Cindy. So beautiful. Sukaniko makes the delicata and the Versamark and the Versafine and the Versafine Claire and stays on Sukaniko. It starts with a T, so it's Japanese, and their stuff is amazing. Sukaniko. Yes, we carry this. This is available both in our brick and mortar store and our online store. Okay, I'm just using that same paper towel to allow me to just kind of burnish. All right. So now we've overstamped, and the silver isn't as obvious, but it's there. I'm going to do it again. This stamp, stencil, and die set is one that does have the the glimmer foil plate. I keep inserting gold. Apparently I want to use gold. And that will work with your foiling system, whichever one that is. We have the Spellbinders Glimmer Foil system. I love it. It is glorious. It does work with your big shot. You don't have to have the Spellbinders. Okay. And again, Yes, we are. I just needed to wait till it actually arrived so that I didn't tease you with that. Okay, because I never show you anything. I never teach you anything that I don't carry, because that is rude. Get you all excited about something, and I just say, good luck in your search for that, right? So, okay, now we're going to die cut. Thanks, girls. Takes a village. All right, line this up. And you know what? Nah, never mind. Never mind. I had a moment where I was going to suggest something else, and I thought, stop. Okay, so I've lined that up. And I'm not going to bother putting this in camera because you've seen me die cut. I'm just going to die cut this out. This one is possibly going to make the noise. Oh, no. Good, I got it at enough at an angle. Oops. All right. Now that... All right. Terry, can you come grab this for your team? Do you want to grab this for your table? I did, but it's okay. Let's give you this, and then in just a moment I'll have this available as well. Okay, take my tape off. How are we doing for questions? Is everybody good? All right, here's the die when you're ready. And then also here's the machine. And the stencils. I did not get the one clean.
That's right.
Very sorry about that. Let's give you the top plate as well.
Okay. Thank you.
All right, here's the sample in case that blesses you. Again, this is what table 3 is doing. Okay, and now I'm going to do the same thing I did earlier. I'm going to glue the pieces. Terry, if your table wants the sample, there you go. Yes. So I'm going to stick my pieces down. This gives more dimension. Who has got through their stencils so far?
Table 2 had.
Woohoo! What do you think?
Oh, I love it. Okay, I was telling Vicki that coloring it with the stencils creates less anxiety for me when I'm doing the color if I was doing it from hand.
Yeah, and the time, oh my word,
Yeah.
so much faster.
Yes.
Now this doesn't mean to say that you should never use your markers or, stamp and do color in another medium. This is just one option, and that's what's so great about PinkFresh Studios. They give you the tools to do more than.
This is a great way to practice with the brushes. I haven't done mine up yet.
Oh,
Fun.
yes,
And then seeing how soft it can be put down, like the
yes.
drawings I like to do. Before you add like a little blush to like a person's face with it.
Yes, absolutely.
Or even like sunlight, give little haze.
Absolutely. Yep. Yep. Sometimes you just want to create something different. Okay.
We actually put a little green in the background of our colors.
Nice.
No, you wanna do that in the darker color of green.
That's true.
Anyone?
Sure. As long as it lines up with your stamped image, you're good to go.
You know how they cut around that?
Yes.
I'm good enough to cut around this just to start up here and go. Still do the same thing.
You could, except if your pieces are glued together, you don't want to do it. Are they glued together?
Oh.
On your next one, do it on your next one before you
But
actually
don't-
assemble
okay,
it.
So don't, okay, I see, don't glue it together if you're going to do this cut thing.
And I'm only saying that because it's going to be easier to create a nice sharp cut if you're just going through one.
All right, single.
Yeah, single.
Okay. But I could do it on that card.
Absolutely.
Single, yeah.
Yes, absolutely. And even though that is a slimline sized set, it doesn't need to be only done on a slimline. You could stamp partial images. You could stamp the top half, at an angle and do it again in the lower right. Think outside the box and use it in multiple ways.
So what is this thing called, this set that Table 1's using?
What is the set called?
Yeah.
You're my favorite. You're my favorite, yep. And I am hoping that information is, would it bless you if I gave you a sheet that had all the stuff? Okay, I'll print that. I also created that.
For the slow.
I just failed to print it.
Yes.
But I did create it, so. Were we able to get that on? Okay, it's also, if you go back and watch this, and by the way, if you are watching this live, or if you are joining me in person, you can always go back to Facebook or YouTube, is that right?
Yes.
And find this and watch this over and over. Share it with your friends. That would help us. That would help us get the word out. Especially what?
If you didn't get the one, if you want to do the one that you didn't get.
Yes, yeah,
Exactly.
absolutely.
Maybe he wasn't supposed to be here. I get three-dimensional in him, Stick him up.
So I'm sure you can see there are lots of details here in this die cut. Aren't you glad that the die cut is available?
Yeah.
Because you don't have to cut all this out.
It's amazing.
Yeah, I like it that you don't.
Also, you don't have to cut it apart. I love what they have begun doing. They have begun putting all of the images in their set into one stamp and one die. It's just glorious. So even though it's taking me a little bit of fussying, it's not really a big deal. I just don't want to tear anything. Okay, and uh-oh.
It's okay.
Are we being creative over here?
Yeah.
See? Just change the verbiage. It's all good. Creative. I won't repeat that. My ears didn't hear anything.
Success last time. I absolutely destroyed one.
Art glitter glue is my favorite. I love this fine tip with a stainless steel pin that helps me keep it flowing nicely.
So I think she thought so. Make sure I got an easier card.
I would love that because that would mean that you all buy the stamp and stencil and use it.
The price of the plastic.
It did, yep.
Because of you and your abilities.
Uh-oh. Okay, I have one more piece that is staring at me. I don't know where it is. Some of you are probably saying, Cindy, it's right there in front of you. I don't know where it is. Oh, there it is. It's right here. I was hiding it from myself.
Yeah, we are.
Boom. There it is. Okay. If you have a lovely stamp that you put on the back of your card, now is a great time to stamp it before you fold it because it's completely smooth on the other side. So now I'm going to go ahead. Oh, fail. I put the inside. I did this poorly. Oh well. It's an opportunity for me to put another one on this side. We'll just say that was intentional. Okay, let's finish off by getting some jewels on here. Throwing my papers in the trash. All right, throwing my napkins in the trash. And now we got to figure out what jewels. You can tell that they are starting to get finished because now there's lots of talking. All right, what colors? What color? Blue, the dark green. I'm going to do some choosing here. If there's anyone in the audience who's remained, help me make my decision. Because clearly the girls here, they're excited. Which one?
I chose green, that's it.
Let's put the blue. Let's put the green. Ooh, look at that green. Who said green? That was
Table 3 said green.
table 3, I tell ya. All right.
We're not
I'm going
the
in.
best decision makers, we are. Here's you, this one.
I love it.
There's nothing.
All right, and while I'm doing this, I'm going to start thinking of questions.
Oh, yes.
All right, let's see. I'm sure that if I have... I'm sure that I'm going to have more intelligence now that I have my embellishment wand. All right, girls, let's see. I shouldn't have said girls. Sorry. All right. Let's, friends, yes. Let's decide where we want to put our beautiful jewels. And while I'm thinking, who can tell me the size of today's SLIMLINE card?
Wow.
Well, she's not messing around. She's like,
She has it written down.
I have been waiting.
She took notes.
8.9, not 8.9.
Oh, that's true. Oh, that's true. And so what's the finished card size when it's folded
Which one?
of the SLIMLINE?
Was it 3.5 by 8?
That it could be that, but that's not today's.
Okay.
So today's measurement, nobody's gotten it yet. They got the first part.
4 by 9.
Excellent. Sarah got it. 4 by 9.
It's an extra slice of pie, right?
I love the way she thinks. Yes. Yes. Okay, right? We gotta make up for it. Okay. Why is it important that we start with quality paper? I like that answer. And it has nothing to do with buying it from me, I promise. Yes, my papers are beautiful. I love paper. I've always aspired to buy beautiful quality paper, and I really try to buy it where it's not abundantly available everywhere. I really love beautiful paper.
You get what you pay for.
Yes, you do get what you pay for. And if you start with quality, it's only going to get better from there.
Make sure it keeps it strong.
Yep. Yep. I hate it when you get a card and you put it out on display and the next day it's totally flat. Like it's laying down because it doesn't have the integrity that it needs.
Integrity.
Now, the other reason for making certain that you're putting the inside, completing the card by layering up your inside, is so that you've also balanced your card. You don't want it so heavy on the front that it can't stand up. It just lays over flat. So, plus, you see it, you want to open it, you want something from the front of the card on the inside of the card. It just makes it lovely. Okay?
I think too, when a person you're giving to feels the weight, the quality of it,
Yeah.
it makes it more likely they're going to keep it.
Yes, yes. It's now more like home decor. Let's go there in our mind. That helps us feel like, yeah, it's worth it.
Yes, it's got the
Nobody will ever throw our cards away, right? Never. Right, Sarah? Never.
That's when you use non-quality products.
Right. That's right, because it doesn't matter. They were helping us, really, to purge our stash. Yes.
Put them in a photo album.
Oh, I love that. I'm sending them a thank you note. All right, I don't know where to put these. So many beautiful options. Okay. All right, I'm fussing, sorry. Also, for those of you who are new to art glitter glue, and you have put this metal tip on your glue to get that finer tip, I hope you're not trying to find the hole, Just use your index finger as a guide, and that will help you get the pin in every time without straining your eyes. Okay, so I hope that you shouldn't. But if you do, act like it's lotion. Just rub it in. It'll be great.
Or do like kids do in grade school, this and then try to peel it off.
There you go. It's somehow satisfying. Okay. So now I'm going to just accept where these have landed. I'm going to put my drop of glue, my jewel, stick it down. Let's put that up there instead. I heard the question mark in that apology. That was unique. Got it. Okay, I knew I was missing something.
Cindy, when you get glue on your jewel picker upper, when you get glue,
What?
Will it wear it out? I mean, I'm always trying to wipe it off real fast because
Good.
I seem to get glue on it and I don't want it to wear out.
Good. I like that answer. So,
It's going to get glue on it with me.
so you're a wild child and I love you for it. For you, Studio Katia has made replacement tips. It simply will unscrew. You will buy the new tip and you will put the new one in. Because yeah, truly, this is an easy, and we all will wear these out. But if you're struggling with glue, that tells me you're using too much. I mean, it literally is just a drop.
Yeah, I do squeeze that more than I need.
Yeah, I don't squeeze. I just let a drop come out, and then I bring my jewel to it. Hopefully it doesn't ooze. And if it does ooze, remember that and use less next time. But to answer your question, if you're getting glue on your tip, immediately wipe it away. If it really is bad, get your baby wipe out and just wipe it away.
I don't have the dexterity when it comes to squeeze a tiny bit, so I get more than I need. But I'm after this thing to get it wiped off real fast.
Well, then maybe for you, it's wiser to put your drop of glue on your glass media mat or your craft sheet. Use the other end, maybe pick up some glue, stick it, or use a paper towel. Because really, this end is to move your jewel into place if you're still deciding, or to line it back up evenly. You could use this end for the touching it to the glue, bring the glue over, or use a toothpick, do a dot of glue, then bring your jewel. Okay. Oh, sorry. Let me see. Let me think of some more questions. Oh, goodness. Who has a question? I'm not. Okay. What kind of ink did we use to ink over the top for our second stamped impression? Delicata. I think that Rachel was first.
Sarah's a good name.
Who makes?
Silver shimmer.
Sukaniko. I like that pronunciation. I won't try to say that one again. What other questions? So I think that so far you are definitely in the lead, Miss Sandy. How are we doing online? Do we need any tiebreakers? Do we need any other questions so that we can do a winner there?
So I reached out. So we went from 9 down to 1. That had made it all 2 hours.
All right. Well, that makes it easy for them.
Well, I don't know who it is. I told told them to check in and no one's checked in. So
Okay, that's all right. Because, you know, not
Maybe
everybody
it's
has
missed
2
out.
hours.
Maybe they got tired of listening to us.
That could be. And so for those of you that stuck around, thank you so much. It really means the world for me. So if there's no other questions, then I'm going to say bye for now. For those of you who are here, then